In 1983, I moved to Birmingham and rented a flat. The flat next door was occupied by an accountant who was liquidating companies like there was no tomorrow. He seemed very confident in what he was doing. I also had a friend who was a haulier, and all the work he was getting was taking machinery out of factories and sending it abroad. I also had another friend who had a distribution business, delivering nuts, bolts, etc. to factories. One day she told me the demand had suddenly collapsed. It was not one sector, but simultaneously in all sectors. Cars, buses, lorries, trains. She was shell-shocked. In the 1990s, I embarked on a major research project to find out what was going on in the West Midlands economy. I found out that tens of thousands of small workshops had shut up shop in the previous years. I also found out that a lot of existing companies had been taken over by foreign owners. One engineering company, located in Tipton, making gearboxes for the Reliant Robin, which we visited, was bought by the Chinese when work from Rover fizzled out. It seemed tragic. So where are your jobs? They've been taken abroad. We've literally watched this happening. We started writing letters to government about 20 years ago, and now have 2 books full of letters to government and their responses. They were told what the problem was and what to do about it, but have completely ignored us. The loss of jobs and industries need not have happened. It was completely unavoidable. It took hundreds of years to develop these industries, and it took a mere generation to almost erase them from memory. To let this happen was not just vandalism, it was no less than treason. And nobody has been called to account for this epic blunder. The current economic system does not work for about 50% of the population. If you're out of work, what are the chances of you getting a job in the existing system? If you are low paid, when are you going to be properly paid? Are your jobs sustainable, or are you vulnerable to redundancy? There could well be another crash in the near future. The scenario is that firms will get rid of labour. With less demand from increased unemployment, more firms will shed labour. A downward spiral will be set in motion, where increasingly more and more jobs will be lost. I have met lots of economic development officers and politicians. They repeatedly emphasize that they believe in the free market and free trade. But are they really describing the economic system we have at the present moment? Does globalization equate to free trade? I think they are vastly different, and will demonstrate why. Adam Smith in 1776 wrote, "The value of any commodity, to exchange it for other commodities, is equal to the quantity of labour which enables him to purchase or command. Labour is the real measure of exchangeable value in all commodities. He also wrote, "It was by labour that all wealth of the world was originally purchased, and its value to those who purchase it and want to exchange it for some new productions is precisely equal to the quantity of labour which it can enable them to purchase or command." He also writes, "Labour alone, never varying in its own value, is alone the ultimate and real standard by which the value of all commodities can at all times and places be estimated and compared." He also writes, "Labour is the only universal as well as the only accurate measure of value, or the only standard by which we compare the values of different commodities at all times and in all places." And another writing, "Labour is the real value of the value of silver and of all other commodities, unequivocal or emphatic." In 1820, Robert Owen writes a report to the County of Lanark, incorporating a plan to get thousands of people back to work, especially veterans who fought against Napoleon. He states that the natural standard of value is, in principle, human labour, and that it would be highly beneficial, and has now become absolutely necessary, to reduce this principle to immediate practice. He states, "It will be said that human labour is so unequal in individuals that its average amount cannot be estimated. Already, the average power of men, equally varied in individuals, has been calculated, and both now serve to measure inanimate powers. On the same principle," he states, "the average of human labour may be ascertained, and as it forms the essence of all wealth, its value in every article of produce may also be ascertained, and its exchangeable value with all other values fixed accordingly. To make labour the standard of value, it is necessary to ascertain the amount of it in all articles bought and sold." He says this is already accomplished and is denoted by what in commerce is technically termed the prime cost, or the net value of the whole labour contained in any article of value, the article forming a part of the whole labour. The genuine principle of barter was to exchange the supposed value of labour in one article against the amount of labour contained in any other article. This, he states, is the only equitable principle of exchange. Barter was succeeded by commerce, he says, the principle of which is to produce every article at the lowest and to obtain for it in exchange the highest amount of labour. To effect this, an artificial standard of value was necessary. The metals gold and silver were by common consent among the nations permitted to perform the office. He also states, this sustainable improvement in the progress of society may easily be effected by exchanging all articles with each other with reference to the amount of labour in each, which can be equitably ascertained, and by permitting the exchange to be made through a convenient medium to represent a real and unchanging value, and be issued only as sustainable wealth increases. John Gray expanded these ideas considerably in his book The Social System, which came out in 1831. In his book he states, wealth, like 1,000 streams of water arising in different places and partaking different quantities, should all flow into one reservoir, and being there mixed up and its various qualities amalgamated, it should be restored to its producers in quantities equal to those contributed by each, but partaking of the qualities of the whole. And money should merely be a measure to be used for the purpose of giving to every man as is received from him. The words socialism and socialists began being used in about 1834. Before then, Robert Owen called socialists cooperators, also frequently using the word cooperatives and cooperation. Robert Owen was one of the founders of the trade union movement. Rodney Fisher, my colleague, has invented the master currency. The master currency unit, or the MH man hour, the MH standing for man hour, represents 1 hour of average human productivity of a person with a basic education, having no further qualifications or skills beyond that of a basic education ending at 16 years of age. The master currency can measure all currencies. Measuring our currency with that of China, we find that we're exchanging on a ratio of 1 to 50, which means we send over 1 unit of our labour and get 50 units back. This is why we have almost completely lost all our industries, which means globalization has been engineered. It is an artificial construct designed to destroy our industries using completely outrageously distorted exchange rates. Our civil servants have allowed this to happen. Our jobs have been wrenched from us and often relocated in China and the Far East countries, closing our factories and the machinery and patents following the jobs. If a serious financial crash happened again and our currency lost its value, then China could simply turn its back on us. We will have no access to goods at all. People don't realise just how precarious our position now is. We no longer have manufacturing security, let alone food security. With the master currency, 1 unit of labour exchanges with 1 unit of labour. We therefore trade on a level playing field. Our system is authentic free trade. One system is good, and one system can completely wipe out another country's manufacturing. And before long, it will take our service industries also. It is completely insane what we have now. If it continues, we will never get on our own feet. We have many ways to apply our economic technology. I'm going to give you one example. Let us assume that government and trade unions won't help us. We go to as many businesses as possible, with as wide range of products as possible. We ask them to join our scheme, and hopefully they will. Joining the scheme means all the workforce is put on at least the lowest level of pay, which is £13.59 per hour for average human productivity. Half the wage will be paid in pounds sterling, and the rest will be placed in a current account and a chequebook issued. A second economy will be created, and people will be able to use the cheques to purchase goods needed in the second economy. A complete range of goods will be available. Those which cannot be obtained from this country will be sourced from abroad, exchanging using the value of the master currency. A Polish company in our scheme will get 11 times the goods trading in our currency than if they traded in the conventional way. Just imagine the potential for exports when people cotton on to how our system works. When we know which companies wish to be involved, we'll then create a model of our economy and engineer the correct balances to ensure everything dovetails together. We will essentially master plan our economy, ensuring it is completely sustainable, like building a bridge. We will ensure it never falls down. All this extra purchasing power created in the second economy, which will be as local as possible, will cause extra demand from goods from many local companies, which in turn will require more workers to be taken on. The cheques are not mere promises to pay as in our present currency, but bona fide representatives of real wealth. Our bank, or you could call it counting house or ledger or exchange system, whatever name you wish to call it, gives out paper money in the form of a cheque to represent the value of all the goods that might be brought into the marketplace, plus repayment of the said money on the removal of property from the marketplace. Money is only created when goods are produced and represent the value of those goods, unlike the present system where money is created out of thin air. Before the 2008 crash, £1.4 quadrillion was created out of thin air by Western banks, and a lot of that flowed into inflated land values. A quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. Another example is where we get people to invest in pounds sterling in a savings account. This money would be converted into MH units, or master currency units, which do not inflate or deflate but hold their value. This money could then be lent to business. No interest would be charged on these loans, only a small bank administration charge, which could be as low as 0.6%, but will probably be about Land or buildings would not be purchased at inflated prices, but based on outlines already outlined in the system. Money invested would therefore be backed by assets valued properly. In the unlikely event of a surge in withdrawals, assets would be sold in an orderly fashion at their true value, not knockdown prices. Money is fully protected, and it would be an extraordinary safe place to invest one's money. It would literally be as safe as houses. Money would be invested locally, and these collective assets would match precisely the money ploughed into them. The MH trading system would ensure jobs are sustainable, so there would be no sudden collapses of industry leading to mass unemployment, with people unable to pay their mortgage. Obviously, there would be slight adjustments to employment, but these would be planned in advance to ensure continuity of employment for people. If you would place £1 sterling in a bank in 1969, it would be worth only 4p today. If the Nitec Time Bank had existed in 1969 and you had placed £1 sterling in its savings account and withdrew it today, you would be given £24. Yes, £24. Our economic tool eradicates inflation. Our savings accounts handle sterling, and our current accounts deal with pounds local, which creates the second economy. When exchanging goods and services, more often than not, both currencies will be used. Most likely 60% sterling and 40% local. Using this new economic system, we can bring back manufacturing very easily, and our economy will be energized and be as vibrant as those of India, China and Brazil. A major part of our economy has been repressed far too long, and we can now break out of our bondage. Our creativity and talent can really flourish. We once were the workshop of the world. Let us again show the world the people who we are. To get our scheme off the ground requires massive effort, but could be achieved with your support. Everyone is talking about an alternative, but nobody seems to have come up with this except ourselves. The present system is going nowhere except bringing further decline and unemployment. With our economic tool, we could sort out the euro and the American crisis. What is happening at the moment is completely unnecessary. There are solutions, but you are not being told them. Every aspect of our system has been written about in books, which you can obtain from the library. Check out what we say. Everything is totally transparent. This system is not set in stone. It can evolve. It is merely a starting point. We are forming a cooperative. If you join, you'll be taking ownership of the system, and it will be run on democratic lines. It is everyone's responsibility to make it work. We have application forms which you can complete to join the cooperative. These will ask you what your skills are. We want existing companies to expand and take on more workers. This transformation will hopefully inform these companies. The application form also invites people to join the Time Bank. Current and savings accounts are on offer. One of our first priorities is to get manufacturers to join the cooperative. We need to target, in particular, small companies independently owned. However, we do not preclude medium-sized businesses or large-scale businesses. The best way of getting members is by word of mouth. We need thousands of people to join and thousands of businesses. The economic crash happened in 2007. Are we any nearer to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? We have a clear and simple plan. Let's put all our energies behind it. We could build something really great. We are stifled waiting for leadership, which isn't going to come. Nobody's going to save us except ourselves. Let us start building a new country. What's to stop us? Our ideas are solid. They can be taken forward with certainty. So what are we waiting for? Join us in this exciting new venture and begin to make a difference. Our ancestors paved the way and left us a fantastic inheritance. We squandered it by almost destroying all the industries and jobs they handed down to us. What a monumental folly! We were once the workshop of the world, and if we had not been led by donkeys, would still be in a preeminent position. Let us get fully behind this plan and show the world what we are made of. A creative and industrious nation at the cutting edge, free of debt and confident in our abilities. We can turn this country around. Simply invest your money in our bank and we will do the job. So to go over the key points again. If we are to survive, we must rely on the skills of others. We must all trade our skills and do this exchanging our hours of productive work. These hours of work are paid for in monetary form. The money is used to buy what we cannot produce ourselves. Money is used to buy people's skills. If one uses the wrong form of trading and money is wrongly defined, the system becomes very unfair. We need to exchange with each other. Present-day prices for goods and services are based on market prices, not the effort spent to create them. This allows unjustifiable prices that can be extremely high. It is necessary to create money directly linked to the average human productivities. Economies must be managed. The purpose of the special trading system is to trade worldwide on a sound trading basis. It will give everyone the ability to support themselves and their families on wages which are fair and sustainable. Local economies are supported by thousands of different skills, and for this reason many thousands of us are required in the first stage of the implementation, the target being 10,000 people. Hundreds of businesses, small, medium and large, are also needed. In the first stage of implementation, we will need to trade in national and local money, all valued in pounds sterling. But our wages and products will be based on master currency values or MH values and then converted into pounds. By employers paying proper wages, thousands of pounds will be created to buy locally made products. People with savings, by using our banking system, will have the money stored in master currency units or MH units, preventing the loss of savings caused presently by continuous inflation. Everyone in each of our towns, villages and hamlets builds the economy. The cooperative carries out all its trading activities based on hours of production. It uses the economic system developed by Rodney A. Fisher to value all other currencies, including sterling. The system allows everyone to support themselves and creates full employment. Being a cooperative, we are all owners of the organisation. The system eliminates inflation in wages and also in products we buy. Business profits are regulated to ensure affordability of products. The economic management system belongs to the people. There will be no interest added to loans. Property prices must be in balance with the human work effort to create them. In the Nitec Time Bank, all money in the savings and current accounts will remain in the customer's ownership. Our individual credit worthiness will determine how much we can borrow and for how long. A Nitec Time Bank can be a service given by a bank or other business that is not a cooperative, but they must abide by the Nitec rules. These Nitec Time Banks would be supervised by Nitec. Nitec will run the national and international trading system, developed by Rodney A. Fisher, and carry out all the activities necessary to develop our economic systems to be sustainable. In 1969, £1 is now worth, in 2012, 4.19 pence. The government has allowed this to happen. We suggest you should store savings in Nitec savings accounts. Our savings are backed by what we have placed in the economy. Our assets, including goods and services, which make our savings secure in the Nitec Time Banks. The whole economy owes us the amount we have saved, which can be used at any time the saver wishes. Nitec, being a cooperative, means we are all responsible to ensure that all members follow the Nitec trading rules and the honest culture and openness needed. In the Nitec system, all assets and products are properly valued. That is the human effort to create the product. It may be necessary to create local pounds plus sterling wage structures. A 50% local plus a 50% sterling basis would be quite realistic. This is an overview of the Nitec Time Bank and its key issues. It is hoped you will join the cooperative soon. For the system to work, we need a critical mass as soon as possible. People are naturally complacent, and it is very hard to convince people about new ideas. However, with the present system coming apart in front of our own eyes, it becomes increasingly obvious something needs to replace it. Other people are coming up with new solutions also. These need to be checked out by a discerning seeker of truth. We have spent 36 years developing this system, and we're not saying that every aspect of it is perfect. It will need tweaking here and there. But we believe it is the best on offer, and we could not have worked on it for so long if we did not think it was up to the enormous challenge of creating a brand new economic system, more in keeping with the trading needs we have now. Make that leap of faith. Trust us. and support our system. Do it now.